Welcome to the TechHub.training SQL Group by for Greatness Challenge Solution. This challenge is part of the SQL learning path. I'm going to here and pull up my Access database. And we're going to start with our first query, which is how many orders has each employee created? We're only going to include the employees who have created at least one order. So we're going to go create query design, SQL view. We're going to write this query together. So we're going to select the employee's first name, last name. So I'm going to do e.first name, which is an alias for the employee table, which we'll add later. And then e.last name. And then we need to get a count of the o dot, which again is a alias for the orders table. Emp order creation ID. I'm going to change the name of that to count of orders using the as. We're going to go from employee as e. That's where we get that alias. So instead of doing employee dot every single time, I can just do e dot, and then I don't have to worry about having issues with it not knowing which column to use. And then I'm going to inner join orders as O on e dot employee ID equals O dot emp order creation ID. And then we're going to use our group by. We have to group by all the non-aggregate columns in our select statement. So that's going to be the first name and last name. I'm going to run that query. There we go. There is our count. All right, then we'll move on to our next query, which is the average quantity ordered for each inventory item. So again, we're going to go create query design, SQL view, write this query together. So we're going to do i.inventory underscore name, which again is an alias for the inventory table. And then we're going to round because you'll get a lot of decimal places if you don't use the round function. First, we'll do it this way. We'll find the average so you can see it. And then this is the ordered details table of the quantity ordered. And then we're going to find the average of that because I meant the round at that because that average is going to have a lot of decimal points. So we're going to round. And then do a comma 2 so we can round to 2 decimal places. As average quantity ordered. We're going to get that from the inventory as I table. And we're going to inner join the order detail table as OD on i.inventory od.inventory ID. And then since we have aggregation in our select statement, we have to use a group by, and this time we only have the inventory name. And run that query. There we go. And for our next query, again, we're going to create query design. We're going to go to SQL view. And our last query is the total payable amount for each vendor based on the outstanding orders. So for this one, we're going to select the company name. And then we're going to get the sum of the quantity ordered times the price per unit. You have to make sure, even though you're multiplying, you still have to sum it, right? Because we're summarizing for each company. So you have to make sure you include that sum or you'll get an error. And then we're going to change the name to that to the total payable. And we get it from, And then we're joining two tables. So you have to make sure you put parentheses around your first join. So we're going to go from vendor as V, inner join orders as O, on V dot vendor ID equals O dot vendor ID. And then I'm going to end my parentheses because my first join's done, and I'm going to do my second join. So on Access, you always have to those parentheses, you'll get an error. I'm going to join the order detail as OD on O dot order ID equals OD dot order ID. And then again, we have this all as part of the aggregation, the quantity order, the price per unit, so we only need to group by the company name. We're going to run that query, and there you go. Thank you so much for doing this challenge, and I hope you can continue learning some more SQL.